We're here at the National Art Gallery for the opening event for Bahamas Artistic Movement, Dream Project 2017, Mr. Jeffrey Poitier. So we talked about this a bit Saturday night. What made you come back home for this?
I grew up through DeVoe Street South, like I always tell people. I went to Our Lady's Catholic School. I went to Aquinas College. I wanted to become an actor. And I was lucky enough that I had an uncle, Uncle Sidney, who said, if you want to become an actor, I will bring you to New York where you can study because you have to study, even though you've got talent. And I studied acting, voice, and speech at Sylvia Lee on 57th Street. I studied drama, acting, voice again at Anthony Menino Drama Tree Theater on 23rd and Broadway. I went over to Strasbourg and studied Strasbourg. NEC, Negro Ensemble in Harlem, I studied there. And throughout the 15 to 18 years that I studied, I think I became good at what I did. But I remember as a kid growing up here in the Bahamas, here in Nassau, it had very little to offer me back then. And so when Rowena and Ronald came and discussed BAM with me and showed me the film of these little people, the little girls and the little guys and the future generation of this country, and said, we need your help in coming back and teaching what you know, what you've learned out there in the world. And if you can you bring some of your friends, producers and directors and set designers and actors, musicians that would be interested in coming and supporting us. Hence, you have the likes of Danny Glover, that is here tonight, Michelle Rashida Turner, who is theater extraordinaire in New York City, who came on board my first film as producer-director, Voices, which is a story about the first Bahamians to settle in Miami Coconut Grove. Shameen Neville is here, daughter of one of the Neville brothers, Charles Neville. And she came to part her knowledge on music. At 16, she appeared with the Rolling Stones. And on is her extraordinary career. I'm doing a film with her now in New Orleans called Conversations with Music. So in 27 months, I've filmed 84 of the greatest musicians in that country, including Fats Domino, Ellis Marsalis, Alan Toussaint, Delfrio Marsalis, Guitar Slim Jr., Rockin' Doopsie, and many living legends. Michael Dunaway is here, my co-producer. He is the editor of Pace Magazine in Atlanta, also one of the directors of the Sarasota Film Festival. We've got a list of people coming in to part their knowledge. Dara Wishingrad, set designer in New York. And these are people that I've known for the past 30 years and that I've worked with. I couldn't let this opportunity pass by to give back to these kids who need to be prepared before they go out there, because it's rough out there. And again, even though you've got this innate talent, this innate ability, it's a process. You have got to go to school and learn the fundamentals of whatever you're doing. So that's why I'm here, to give back to the future generation of this country, who otherwise would be watching these people on television and hoping and wishing that they had the opportunity. And because I could, I should, especially in such a crucial time in this country, where kids need this kind of situation where they can touch this person and they can ask any question that's on their mind. And hopefully, which is my hope, that they can look at me and them and see that it's not impossible. That
Because you grew up on DeVoe Street.
I grew up on DeVoe Street. I was one of them. And again, I was lucky to have this man in my life that said, I believe in you enough, and took me to New York and paid for my acting classes and my voice lessons and my speech lessons. And again, it is a process where it's going to take you years to develop, to become who you know you are. But to give any child the opportunity to see themselves the way that they know that they should be. I don't care if you wanted to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper. Husband it. Go out and find how it is to do this. Again, unfortunately, it's not here, so it's got to be shipped in. I'm grateful that at this point in my life, at this point in my career, I've stayed out there long enough to develop this kind of relationship with the kind of people that I'm bringing in. And they're not coming in to be paid. They're coming in because they're friends of mine, and they want to make the world a better place, starting with the young kids. I'm doing the best I can. And so making the Bahamas a better place than I met it, each and every one of us are going to have got to do our part, especially with these young kids. It's our responsibility, not only the parents' responsibility, is all of our responsibility. When I was growing up, everybody raised you. We need to see more of that. So that's why I'm here.
And voices, you talked about voices. You said it took you about 4 years of filming, and you said some points I didn't really realize how deep-rooted Bahamians are with the city of Miami.
Voices I filmed for 4 years and 3 weeks until my wife said enough. But I managed to catch 375 people on camera. Most of them are Bahamians. We have a copy of the original incorporation papers of Miami that made Miami the city of Miami. On the list of those hundreds of names, I think about 70% of them are Bahamians. People need to know this. Flagler Street was, a lot of the land that was owned on Flagler Street was owned by a man from Eleuthera.
Couldn't read all right.
F.W. Sturrup, couldn't read or write, married into a family of teachers. Before he married into the family of teachers, he had already amassed a fortune in land and rental properties. We come from a culture of owning, not renting. So Bahamians that came over, some of them were the contract workers. Some stayed, most came back. The ones that stayed, and the time frame we're talking about is the 1800s, when the first Bahamian settlers built Coconut Grove and built Miami. How do we know that? We have a paper trail. We have deeds to property. We have payments to Coconut Grove Bank, where Miss Johnson, who, when I filmed her, was 101 years old. She was one of the first maids in Miami from 8 Mile Rock. She made 10 cents a day. But she managed to buy her property, I think it was $1,500, and to build her house, to send her kids to college.